Viewers, we have a breaking news at the moment. Sources have told NDTV Profit that the NSE has received an NOC, that's no objection certificate, from SEBI to launch its IPO. And this is a very important step, a hurdle that's been crossed, of course, for NSE to launch its initial public offering. And we have my colleague Alex joining us on the phone line to give his inputs. Alex, what does this nod really mean? When do you think now that the NSE IPO could finally hit the bourses?
Well, before we get into timelines, Malika, the most important thing is that the NSE has received that no objection certificate. And this is confirmed by sources to NDTV Profit just a short while back. Now, it's important to understand the context in this situation. The first application by the NSE to list on the stock market in India was made in December 2016. So it's been a saga that has lasted over 9 years at this point. There was a headwind, or there was turbulence in the way of the co-location case, etc., that came about over the course of the intervening years. 2019 is when the SEBI issued orders imposing penalties on NSE and certain former executives for governance lapses and directed NSE to also disgorge a portion of its profits. In 2024, August, the NSE then reapplied to the SEBI for a fresh no objection certificate to restart the listing process. And then a little while later, in October of 2024, there was a settlement of a regulatory matter that required the payment of a penalty of 643 crore rupees. So over the course of the last few years, and particularly heading into the end of last year and the start of this year, there's a lot of activity that has taken place that has allowed the NSE to proceed now and receive that no objection certificate. The last update that we got, of course, was mid-January, when the SEBI granted in-principle approval to NSE's settlement process. So this was viewed as pretty much the last hurdle for the NSE to proceed with its IPO. And this is, of course, pretty much the last step before things can once again get started. Now, it's important to understand the context here. This is, of course, the largest exchange in the country, the largest stock exchange in the country by way of assets under management and trading value that is utilized on the National Stock Exchange. It is currently valued at over 5 lakh crore rupees, and this is a valuation that has climbed rapidly, particularly in the recent past, particularly over the last year and a half. And it was around last year or just about that when the size of the shareholding of the NSE skyrocketed. These are shares that have been offered over the course of the last several years to investors in the unlisted market. And now, currently, you actually have a very large investor base in the National Stock Exchange. It is actually estimated that there are over 1 lakh of shareholders and retail investors. There are about 34,000 of them, each with holdings of up to 2 lakh rupees. And that represents about 10% of the total ownership of the company. And of course, beyond that, of course, you have domestic institutions that hold a sizable chunk. And that includes the State Bank of India as well as Life Insurance Corporation of India, etc. There are foreign shareholders, quite a few of them, and big ones at that, including pension funds globally that own a sizable chunk of NSE as well. So it remains to be seen the contours of the issue itself, and that's going to be the next big thing that the street will look forward to. What is the pricing come about as? Because, as you know, the price has gone up quite substantially over the course of the last 1 year, and we've seen in the past there are unlisted securities that once they've gotten listed, there has been an erosion or there has been a drop in the price before the listing process has started. It remains to be seen whether NSE is going to be one of them, because if anything, it would be one of the crown jewels post-listing. This is, of course, as I mentioned, the largest stock exchange in the country and handling a bulk of the volumes, both in the cash market as well as in the derivative market. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of issue takes place. whether it's a fresh issue, whether there's going to also be an offer for sale by existing shareholders. All of those things remain to be seen.
Right.
And the timelines, of course, you'll have a sense of it once the DRHP once again is filed.
Of course. Thank you so much for giving us your input and also a context into how NSE really has come to this stage. As Alex highlighted, the process began back in 2016 and there were many hurdles in between. But now the fact that it has received an in-principle no-objection certificate, it brings it to the last step of actually finally offering its IPO and coming and getting listed on the Dalal Street.